Alright. Moving on to the Belko Experimenta, a movie that was sent to me by Jason from Sinister Cinema, because I won that contest of his. And I already watched the other two before he sent those to me. I actually already had VFW, but I gave my copy to a buddy of mine, and I kept the one that Jason gave me. So, but, now hear this. And this is one I wanted to put in for, actually, I guess I put it in beforehand, because when I put this in, it asked if I wanted to start from where I left off, and it was just a menu. But, I guess I put it in, but never started watching it. I did the same thing with Casino Royale one time. But, this was a story of a company, paper company of some sort, called Belko, that, the workers, they're there, and they're told, they're sitting in their offices or whatever, and they're told that 2 people need to die, and if they don't, double that will die. They don't believe it, and 4 people end up dead, and then they start to realize that this is real, and that now they're going to have to kill more, and it's going to test whether or not you have the will to do it, or whether you want to kill someone that you know, or, hold on. I need to blow my nose. Sorry about that. Alright. Put my ears. So yeah. We get our workers at this office building in the middle of nowhere in Bogota. And they're coming in. And there's one thing I'm confused on. So we meet this character, Danny. And it's her first day on the job. She comes, they got a tracker in the back of her head. Okay, 2 things. 1, if I applied to an office building, or was offered a job at an office building, and I was told I have to put a tracker in the back of my head, I say, hell no, I'll go get a different job. You can put nothing in the back of my head. There's no company needs to have a tracker. We find out later that's not what they are anyway, but, And also, when this thing starts happening, you find out, they've all been here for a year, except for Danny, and they all know each other in the building. So why is Danny involved in this? If it's her first day, she doesn't know any of these people, which that never really comes back in anything. Why is she involved? I don't know. But yeah, a voice, known only as the voice, comes over the PA system and says, you have about a half hour or so to kill 2 people, and if you don't, you will kill double that. They don't listen, of course, because they think it's a joke, even though, things start to go into lockdown, and they still think it's a joke. I don't know, but by the end of the half hour, 4 people die. Because the trackers are in fact little exploding head things. They go and explode their heads, little detonator things. And so our main character here, did it say his name? Mike. It's not back to Bogota, Colombia, yeah. Mike, he figures out what's going on, and he goes in the bathroom to cut it out, the thing out back of the head, but he's told to stop or it will detonate. So he stops. And that's one of the things I don't like about this film. Every time they try to do something to get out of there, they're like, oh, you better stop or we're going to detonate. And so they have to stop. And it's like, okay, so James Gunn wrote this. and it was filmed by the guy who did. It was directed by the guy who did Wolf Creek. Kind of name here, Greg McLean, and there seems to be a tonal clash because the script is very much James Gunn kind of horror comedy type thing, sort of like Slither, but it's not allowed to go that far because the guy directing it doesn't understand the script. He's playing it too serious, and they don't get to go all out battle royal style fighting, killing sprees. It's mostly just like you think in an office. Like I don't know if James Gunn put this in there, but there's an armory in an office building where there's guns. They should be killing each other with office supplies like this. This is from the final fight between our man Mike and this guy Barry here on the back, played by Tony Goldwyn. It leads me to talk about the cast in this film. So, the main character Mike is played by John Gallagher Jr., who's in 10 Cloverfield Lane. We also have Tony Goldwyn, as I mentioned, Adria Arjona, I don't know how to pronounce that. John C. McGinley, Dr. Cox from Scrubs. He's the creepy guy. Don't call him I call him a pervert. Don't call him a pervert, though. And Michael Rooker, who sadly doesn't get much to do in this. He's a janitor or whatever, and he doesn't last long. James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn, lasts longer. He plays a pothead. We also have Abraham Ben Ruby, who you may know from ER, or George of the Jungle, or Without a Paddle. He's been in a lot of things. Robot Chicken, he does voices. It's cool to see him in this. He died, of course, but it was cool. But yeah, we meet the characters. We see that Mike is having like an inner office romance with this one chick who actually joins Barry's side at first. And so for the most part, I kind of enjoyed this for what it was. It was fine, nothing special. You don't really go all out on the killing because it's mostly like shooting with guns. And I feel like that was an add-on by the director when they took the script. James Gunn wrote this in 2007, and unfortunately he was busy or didn't feel like he wanted to direct this one, and he probably should have. Because I would say if you write a script, you ought to direct it. Like, look at Rocky, right? Well, he didn't direct Rocky, he directed Rocky 2, but it's still a good analogy. Because Stallone had the script for Rocky, right? And he wouldn't allow them to use it unless he played the lead role. So, and I understand it was James Gunn's choice, but they shouldn't have allowed this film to be made unless James Gunn himself directed this, because I feel like the directing clashes with the writing, and if I feel like that gun armory wasn't in the original script that James Gunn had, because I feel like James Gunn would have them killing each other with all the supplies. It would be more James Gunnish. This just feels like, oh, we have an armory in an office building, which makes no fucking sense. And they go in there and they get them. There's a scene in which people are executed from behind. That's dark. It's more like torturing people, man. That's not what you. No. But yeah, it really just kind of, I don't know, it clashes. Because, like, and you do have some kind of James Gunnisms in here, even though he didn't direct it, but there is, like, music, Spanish versions of music, and, like, opera music playing at certain points, and it doesn't work. I feel like the director tried to make it more James Gunnish with the music, but keep the tone of some of the stuff. But then you have some wisecracking jokes that were thrown in there from James Gunn's script, mostly by Sean Gunn, and it just, I don't know. But yeah, a bunch of people start. So after that initial thing with the 4 people dying, they say, okay, we need you to kill 30 more people, and if within the next few hours, and if you don't, 60 people will die. So it becomes an all-out war. They fight each other, And by the end of it, 29 people die, which means they're one short. And so, is it six? I think it's 30 more people die. 31 more people die to even it out. 31 more people die. And, yeah, so now they say that whoever has the most kills by the end of all this will survive. And our man Barry has 11. Wendell has, what was it, like 6 or 5 or something like that. And the girl, Danny, who is the new girl, she has like 1. I think she killed 1 person in self-defense or something like that, or by accident. I don't know. But yeah. And yeah, so it comes down to a battle royale fight. It comes down to the fight and stuff. Sean Gunn gets killed. Abe Ben Ruby gets killed. And then we get sort of a final showdown. It feels like they were just trying to dwindle down the numbers to the final character, because it just doesn't feel like it. Like Danny, who has been hiding this whole time, like her and David Del Rio's character, they get up to the top of one of the elevators earlier on. Barry takes the elevator up, and Danny's able to get out, but David Del Rio gets squished, which stops the elevator. She's able to eventually get to another elevator, but she decides to climb down and take the elevator down to the lobby. As soon as the elevator opens, Barry shoots her. And it's like, why were we following her for the entire film? She was like a secondary character, and you just killed her off. Why? Because you need Mike to be the main character. And it could be very James Gunn, as he has a thing for killing off random people, that sort of thing. Much like Joss Whedon did in his shows and stuff. But I don't know. It just doesn't work. And then you have Mike and his girlfriend being chased by Barry, and he's shooting at him. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, girlfriend's been shot, and she dies. She declares her love for Mike when she dies. So now it's Mike, who has been against this whole thing from the beginning. By the way, he's kind of led his group, people who don't want to do this, and then Barry has led his group, people who want to do it. He's been against this, but now his girlfriend's death has motivated him to finally get involved, and he and Barry have a fight, and he kills him with the tape dispenser. And then he finally able to leave, and he's taken by security guards to the Voice. I should mention, there's one more thing I meant to mention. Earlier in the film, Sean Gunn and Abe Ben Ruby, they were taking out the people who were shot and killed, taking out their little devices in the back of their heads. That's a very important plot point I forgot to mention. Because here, he's talking to the Voice, as he's only credited as, and he said, he's unable to. They ask him, how do you feel right now? And he's unable to respond. But he says that he's planted the bombs, and it's on all of them. So he activates all of them except for his own, and killing all the guards and wounding the Voice. But then he kills the Voice, very much so, by shooting him in the head, I believe, or an axe to the head. One of the two. And then he walks out and he leaves, and we get his Voice saying, end of stage 1, begin stage 2, and we get pulled back. He's still being watched, and there's various other experiments. So this is a new time they were doing it. And much like the end of Black Friday, you see that there's more going on, But yeah, this was fine. You know what? It's the middle of the road. I'm sorry. I was going to say pretty good, but it's the middle of the road. Because honestly, if James Gunn had directed this, I feel like it would have been more balls to the walls and would have fit it better. Where if this was, the director actually wanted a more subdued and serious tone, and it doesn't work with James Gunn's script. I'm sorry, it doesn't. But yeah, middle of the road. So, Alright. Dwindling down to the 5 we have. We have 4. 4. And we have The Intruder. Alright. Dennis Quaid. I had that on my Vudu, so I'll probably watch that during work tomorrow. Of course. Not during, but throughout work. You know, in the van and everything. Gotta get done. I got 5 movies to get done tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how far I get. I want to get all 15 done, but maybe 15 was a bold thought, but we'll see. There's other stuff going on tomorrow, but I feel like if I can get this. How long is this one? I don't ever put it on there. Where does it say how long it is? God damn you, Sonny. Doesn't say. Does it say on the disc? No. Oh, there. 102 minutes. So that's an hour and 32 minutes. No, an hour and 42 minutes. Excuse me. There it is. The Intruder is next. So what are your thoughts on the Belko experiment? Leave your comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.